All right, Black Box Radio. Listen, I am in the box. I'm in the South Carolina box. I'm in the South Carolina studios, guys. And listen, I am so excited. I said this this is like the third day. This is the third day of the Black Woman History Month series. But I'm just excited to be in space with Black women and to be able to communicate effectively, authentically. It's a superpower. So I really, really am so thankful for this series. And every time that I actually do a series, I want to have like an international component. I do an International Sundays series every probably quarter where I connect with the diaspora. It's very important as being an American African is for us to connect outside of America to other Africans on the continent and also who have been dropped off all over the world. So I really, really think the diaspora has to be very cohesive. So I have a series called International Sundays. So in this series, like I said, I have to have an international component, African component. And so that is what that's what we're kind of doing today. We're going to talk about that. But I want to introduce myself. I'm Queen. I'm a host at Black Box Radio. We are a multimedia platform illustrating Black excellence. We platform Black people. We expose Black genius. And we disseminate information to our community and to other communities. We do this 6 to 9 times a month. And I want you guys to like, share, subscribe. Let's say it again. Like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to build this channel. It's a grassroots space for Black people. It's authentically Black. We're unapologetically Black, but it's a place for us to be able to authentically share, connect, and you see our grind to our shine. That's what we do. Check us out and subscribe, please. Subscribe to the channel. So now the business is done. We're going to jump right in. And like I said, I kind of mentioned earlier that there has to be an international component. Even though my sister here is living in the States, she is a continental African. So that's what made her so, and then her work is just amazing. I met her doing her work and I said, "Ooh, who is that lady?" So I want to bring to you guys tonight this wonderful Black woman, African woman. I'm going to let her say her name because listen, I'm going to butcher that. So I got to Atnafou, but I want her to say her whole name. So say your name and welcome to the box.
Thank you so much, Queen, for having me. And my name is Rebkha. And Atnafou is my last name. Rebkha Atnafou, surprisingly, you got the last name. You made you think your last name is easier than the first name. I am really surprised. But there's a little bit mystery about me. Rebkha Atnafou means Rebecca beyond the horizon.
Yeah. I love that. So guys, you know us Europeans, American Africans, she's Rebecca tonight. Becky with the good hair. This is Becky with the good hair.
With any name, any nickname.
So I'm so happy to have you. And where are you originally from? Tell us that.
I am from East Africa, specifically from Ethiopia, and specifically from the city of Addis Ababa, which is New Flower. Yep.
Oh, beautiful. So you're from East Africa, which is beautiful. And you've been in the States how long?
Wow, 40 some years. I immigrated here in 1976.
Yeah, so you immigrated. That's what I wanted to hear. So you weren't born here. So you are actual continental that immigrated to the U.S. Your whole family or pieces of the family? How did that happen?
No. I came by myself, actually, at the age of 15. Yeah, because there was a communist revolution in Ethiopia. And, my parents didn't want me to go through indoctrination of communism. And also there was constant interruption with school. And they were concerned of that academic disruption. So they really, devised a plan to get me out of the country and to come to the US. And my father was completely reluctant. But, us women have a way of working around people in our relationship. But my mom felt like that was a safe thing to do to get me out of the country. So she and my older brother, who was at Georgetown University at that time, a student, came up with a plan without my father's knowledge to try to get me to come to the U.S. And then they finally told him and convinced him, and he thought that was a good idea. So so I came, and it was kind of quiet, like clandestine. I did not know that I was going to be sent to America until just a few days prior, because they didn't want anything to really mess up the plan. Because at that time, they wanted to keep young people there. They were hot commodities, young people, and they were sent for 2 years assignment to do rural communist education, indoctrination. There was a lot of fighting between different communist and Marxist, Leninist factions, and lots of young people were dying. And as I said, school was like a luxury to have. No, it's politics, not school. So I came here at the age of 15. I was really scared, nervous. I did not want to come. I did not want to leave my parents. And then, of course, I had no idea who I was going to be living with. So I came here to live in upstate New York, in a small town called Corning, New York, and with a very elderly white Americans. And my American mom, Mrs. Werner, was, her ancestors came on the Mayflower, so she's very, very British, British American. And Mr. Werner, Werner is a German name. His ancestry was from Germany. So I came to live with them in upstate New York, and there were 2 other foreign students that were living there too. And Mr. and Mrs. Werner's were in their 70s, around 75, 76. Yeah, so there was a huge gap on so many levels.
Yes.
They loved having foreign students. And I think I was number 20 to have lived with them.
Oh my goodness. So that's amazing. So it wasn't like an exchange program, because you said your brother was at Georgetown. Yes. So this was a program that accepted students from internationally to come live with a family. So they found the family for you, or your parents?
No, there's no such program. People just made the connection to the Werners and made direct contact and came. So what happened was that my dad knew someone, and he told him, well, I know a perfect place where I know you're concerned about your daughter leaving at such a young age to go overseas. I have a perfect family for you. And they take foreign students, and it's out in the boonies in Corning, New York, away from urban environments, so she will be safe. And so he contacted them, and there I was. I came to live with them for 5 years. Yeah, in upstate New York.
So they have networks like that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
See, when you're here and you're on here, we have no clue. Because we always think that it has to be regimented. It's within a program, or, it's some exchange, like exchanging students, or it's a program that's sanctioned through a school or through a hospital or through like the church. But this was private, regular citizens housing people. Oh, wow.
Yes,
amazing.
Absolutely. But the way you describe it is the normal way that people come. It's just so happened that ours was a bit different, and the 19 students, foreign students that preceded me. So this couple was very, very much into international travel and history. I would say they knew so much more about Ethiopian history than I did,
of course,
and that I currently have, and they've been to places that I have never been in Ethiopia. So they were very, very, very well informed. Yes.
Yeah, they were avid travelers too. Wow. So they had a appetite for international. People. So that's beautiful. Oh wow. And so was it a safe space for you? And
it was a safe space in a way. Like, so it is. Well, it's definitely a cultural shock, as you can imagine.
I can
Yeah, and
imagine the
yes,
language, the nuances of culture, and it's a culture shock. Of course, I
yeah,
know
the
and
color,
they're Europeans. Let's be honest, they're white people. You're coming from East
the
Africa.
whole
All you
town,
see
not
is
just them,
Ethiopian.
not just them.
The whole place.
Yeah, all of New York, not just really white,
This was in
and
Manhattan.
the surrounding areas, Horseheads, and even Ithaca, where Cornell is. So most of the
It's
people were
very white. Ithaca is very white.
Coraline
Yeah,
were
yeah.
were white. But if you walk around in Corning and you're Black, people immediately think, okay, do you live with the Werners? People on the street will say, oh, you must live with the Werners. It's like everybody knew.
They know that they had the United Nations. I love it.
Yes, yes. There was a
Oh,
very lovely, lovely couple.
okay.
Very, very strict. Very much focused on academics, and we were not allowed to watch TV, but study all the time. And we did. We were allowed to watch 60 Minutes. So to this day, I watch 60 Minutes every Sunday. That's like my favorite news journalism
Look at you being
station.
acculturated on 60 Minutes. I love it. That's your
Yes.
thing. Like some people say they want to see a comedy. You want to see 60 Minutes. I love it.
Yes. 60 Minutes. You know what else we used to do? So on Soul Train would come like Saturday morning, Sunday morning.
You better know it. I was a kid. I love Soul Train.
Yes. And they would be at church, and the moment we they're gone, and then we turn on the radio and blast, and TV. I mean, listen to radio, the music we want to listen, then turn on Soul Train and just watch, the Afro sheen and the bell bottoms and people dancing. We just love it. And the moment we hear them coming, turn everything
Black
up,
culture.
down, and just like with our books and just like be real studious. That's how we were.
I love it. But you see how you were seeking Black culture and trying to, see other things because it's inherent. You needed to find someone that looked like you, the music that made you move your head. You needed that. It's important. It's so
You're very
important.
right. At that time, I didn't really quite think of it that way. I just knew I wanted to watch Soul Train. I thought maybe the draw was the music, but no, I was admiring everything, the Afro sheen, the bell bottom, everything.
All of it, the style, the dance moves. Yeah, you know what? As a kid, I watched Soul Train, and it was in my household. I was really young, and I loved it. So I can imagine you coming and being in a very white community with a lot of, culture shock. You need some blackness. Let's get it together. We need some blackness here.
Yes, but Queen, even when I was back home in Ethiopia, if someone brought Jet magazine or Ebony during recess time, oh my goodness, we'll all make a big circle around the person that brought Jet magazine or Black Enterprise.
Ebony.
Be so excited and just
wow.
I try to follow African American fashion and stuff, the hairdo and
yes.
what we wore and how we wore it. And there were times, growing up when the Afro was big fashion, the government took offense over that. So like if you're caught in the street or big Afro, sometimes the police would actually come and just cut with scissors. So because it's a conservative country at that time. Yeah.
Really?
So that was the risk that you took. But nevertheless, a lot of people did, what we watch you all do here.
And I love that because I think I love that because as African Americans, we cannot, sometimes we don't understand the things that we're creating, how that it shapes the rest of the world is waiting for. The rest of the world is consuming. The rest of the world needs it. And I mean, because we've created so much music, so much style, so much language.
And all over the world.
All over the world. And we take it for granted of our greatness, of how we just continue to create and we continue. And it's just inherent in us. And it's the African, though. Just I want y'all to know it is the African part of us that continues to create and be the purveyor of culture, the purveyor of swag. That's us. Yeah. And so to hear you say that in Africa, to see Jet and Ebony, you guys were like, yes, sir. I love it. I love it.
Yes, 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 yes. We love that just as much as we liked the cultural piece that we saw. We were
Hmm.
also, the media also portrays this image that has perpetuated um, deep division, I would
Hmm.
say so,
Hmm.
between us being Africans and African Americans, because
Absolutely.
our exposure to African Americans growing up was through what we watched on TV. And so
Yes.
what was projected, as you can imagine, were just negative portrayal of African Americans. So, we, grew to be like a bit fearful of African Americans when come here because of what's been portrayed. But interestingly, though, when I came to Corning too, they had perceptions of us based on media. So people, they would
Because
say,
it's the
"Did
same
you have
thing.
clothes in Ethiopia?"
That's reciprocated here too. That the media makes a concerted effort to make Africa this starving place, this place where people don't eat, flies. They make it so negative. So we have a very horrible picture of where we came from. So a lot
Yeah,
of African American Africans like, oh, I'm not African,
yeah,
because we have been enculturated that Africa is bad, that
yeah,
it's corrupt, all of the things that America is. Let's be honest. All the
yeah,
things that America is, they portray as Africa as being this place of ill content, of
yes,
problems,
yes,
of war, of hunger. And so
yes,
we have a bad thought of Africa also because of media. But
exactly.
I'm here to tell you that we got to
Goes both
break
ways.
away.
Yes, yes,
We
it
have to.
goes both ways, and
It
yeah,
goes both ways.
both,
Yes.
both ways. And that is why I'm so intentional in raising awareness and building bridges with our African American and
Yep.
Caribbean American
Yep.
brothers and sisters in a variety of ways. And just because you know we are pro-black, it does not mean we're anti-white. I want to make that very, very clear, that people
Right.
are intimidated when you're pro-black. It does not mean you're anti-white or
That
anti-Asian or
part.
anything. It's just a matter of nurturing our own, because there needs to be that. There needs to be a focus on that, because we have been divided for so many years. To this day, we are divided. And in those days when they made fun of my accent, so I had so much more accent than I do now, or what I wore, or how I presented myself. I just thought about it as, their ignorance. I did not get offended at all. They would always make fun of
Really?
me at school, in high school. I did not get
Yeah.
offended at all, because I just assumed, okay, they don't know much, so
They don't know
that's
much.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
wish everybody was like you. We have to make concerted efforts to connect with Africa, and we
yes,
have to understand that it is not anti anybody else. But
yes,
I want to say something, Rebecca, is can you imagine a people that you know is great, that you've seen their accomplishments, you've seen the civilization, you've seen the history of them, you see how they are in America. Everything has been done to the American African we've been able to go forward, even with all of the torture and
yeah.
the malicious action that's been going to. It's very hard to let those two people come together. Then how do you control that? How do you control something that is particularly what's the word, particularly uncontrollable, that
Mm.
it's so talented, it is the purveyor of civilization, the women birth the world. You have to keep some dissension between those people,
Yeah.
because if they come together, then what can you control? When you can't control the narrative, then you have to look at yourself. And I think that's what a lot goes on. And this is a concerted effort by I don't know whom, but it's continuing. We see it now today. It continues over and over, but it takes us to be intentional about connecting. I think it's just very important.
I totally agree. I think there's power in us being connected, interconnected, and
Very much.
value ourselves as people,
Mm-hmm.
and chip away the things that divide us, which is our really lack of knowledge or lack of understanding. And the best way
Yes.
to actually have like build bridges is by spending time together and getting to know each other, and
Yep.
facing difficult situations, circumstances ourselves. And so just I am very intentional in bringing us together from like dialogues like this, through leadership mentoring that I provide opportunities for Bunting Neighborhood Leadership Program fellows from Hopkins to come together with the Young African Leaders YALI fellows that Obama set up, along with my Zenni's mentees. So we kind of model how, with our own little diversity, microcosm of diversity, we try to, work together, learn together, celebrate together, and
Mm-hmm.
continue to grow it, and have mentors that are African Americans mentoring African diaspora people, or African students here, and vice versa. So it's just, that's the kind of ways, that you can build bridges and build stronger relationship. But it's just not only just about us, and we welcome anybody, white, Asian, Native American, whoever, that can celebrate these kinds of building bridges, because first and foremost, we're all humans, right? And I think if we celebrate ourselves as humans and value who we are and what we bring to the table, the society will be so much better. And
So
and we
that.
and we need to acknowledge that, put aside our differences and celebrate our commonness. Yeah.
I love that. I totally love that. But Tanya Jonathan, she says, must have been so tough to move away from home at such a young age. Rebecca's strength is truly admirable and incredible. Go ahead, Miss Jonathan. I'm with you on that. 15, I would have been over here acting a fool. So I don't.
Well,
And
I
leave
am
and go to a whole new continent. You're a strong lady.
I am so glad she asked that question, because I forgot to mention to you that I cried for 2 to 3 years, begging, 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 begging my parents, please let me come back to Ethiopia, because I just could not adjust to life in America. And my parents said, absolutely not. We knew the decision that we made is the right one, to send you here so that you can pursue your academic pursuit without interruption, without fear of persecution. And so we're not going to have you come back. That's not going to happen. But, I finally adjusted. But I would say that my younger sister never adjusted. And it was very, very difficult for her. She came when she was 2 years, I think she was 2 years younger than me. And my younger
Mm,
brother followed after her, and she was very, very closely tied to my grandmother and to my
mm.
parents. That she really has struggled. So those are the sacrifices that you make as parents, and it's not something that my parents took pride in or joy in, to send us here at an early age. But people were making such very difficult decisions. Parents were making very difficult decisions in those times, under those circumstances. So I can imagine, I can relate very well, whether Palestinian refugee kids or Ukrainian, all those refugees and the little kids that are orphaned as a result of the war. Um,
Yes.
it's just very difficult to come here, where people think everything is rosy, but it is not, when you're uprooted from your culture, from your parents, from what has been so familiar to you always.
Yes. It's so young, and the parents, I know your dad and your mom, they cried together to send your child away to someone you don't know, you've not even met. You haven't been able to vet where your child is going. That is hard. My mom wouldn't even let me sleep over in the, to someone's house. I can't imagine. She wouldn't. She her own trauma wouldn't let me spend the night out. So imagine you leaving to go to another continent because of the societal and the political things that is going on around you, and you have to give up your children. That is the
Yes.
ultimate sacrifice. I say ashe to them. I mean, that takes
Ashe.
a lot.
Ashe,
Ashe.
Ashe Queen. I never asked my parents if they cried. So you
I know
planted a
they
thought
did.
in my mind. So now I'm going to ask them, did you cry? And I'm sure they did, and they probably did not want us to know, because that would further add to the pain that we were living at
Absolutely.
that time, and the difficulties of adjusting. But another thing that you said is like you said you're not allowed to have a sleepover. That was the
You have
case
a
with me
solution.
too. That's why my father is like, absolutely no way. I was not only was I not allowed to have a sleepover, I was not allowed to visit friends.
No, I
No.
couldn't go to
You
no
see,
one's
from my
house. They could come
school
over,
period,
but I could not
that's
go. No. Mm-mm.
that's how
I'm
it
out and play.
was. So to send me all the way here, you
Another
can
country?
imagine what a big sacrifice that they
That man
were.
cried. He
Yeah.
cried in the bathroom. I'm sure he cried in the shower.
Yes.
When
Yes.
no one can see. That is hard to sit.
Yeah.
And your girl child, a man with his girl.
Yes.
That's a lot. And so I say I say to your parents,
I
they
share.
they made a they made an amazing sacrifice to send you here, and look at you now with fire in your back and you sitting there looking pretty. I say I say.
Thank you. Thank you, Queen. Thank you, Queen. I guess I have adjusted now.
You have
Uh,
really adjusted, baby. You made it.
thank
So look at
goodness. Because my parents sacrificed for my academics. I mean, I knew what I came here for. I focused throughout high
bro.
school, just goal oriented, which is like academics, and like first generation immigrant. It's like so it's focused on academics, and just living the American dream. And the way I got a chance to better know Americans is through social interaction from after school programs. So I got,
Mm.
and I got into yearbook, I got into student government, I got into international club, I got into French club. I was very active in those things, and
Mm.
those things gave me opportunities to get to know
You
the
learn.
American
Yeah.
culture.
You
Yeah,
were building
American.
your toolbox by just being active and being around people. That was good. I mean, and you had no coach. You're a bad lady, Rebecca. I got the role too. You're a bad lady. I'm telling you. I'm proud of you. I am proud of you. So,
So,
Dr. Priyanka, if I said that right, Dr. Priyanka, I need you to give me a yes in the comments. Dr. Priyanka, I think that's right. That's such a wonderful journey, Rebecca. I'm sure it's been filled with growth, challenges, and amazing experiences. Wishing you even more success ahead. Oh, that's so nice. So this is your colleague. This is someone who knows you.
this is going to be my new research assistant in the coming weeks. I appreciate you for saying that, and you're right. I've gone through many challenges, and some of the challenges, like I said, I dismiss them as people's ignorance. When they ask me if I wore clothes or if I lived in a hut. Or did
That's
I have a
embarrassing.
lion as a pet? All those things. I just like I could go on and on. I was
This
like,
is embarrassing. It's
it's
terrible. That's
yeah,
terrible. But
it's
that tells you what we see on television. This is all
all
this is
TV.
all what we've seen. Yeah, yeah. So,
Yes,
and
yes,
that's what we have to go and travel to Africa. Listen, we have to stop looking at letting TV be our guide. Get
yes.
your
Or
passport
social
and
media
get a
nowadays.
also now social media. You have to travel. We have to get our passport, and we have to go to Mother Africa, and we have to see for ourselves. You cannot live through the lens of anyone, and no one should tell you where you're from.
Yeah,
You need to go see it for yourself. And
yes.
so that would end all of these crazy questions, because I work with a Nigerian. They asked him, did he grow up in a tree? Ridiculous. Just ridiculous stuff.
Someone told
So
me, what, a joke. It's like when someone says that to you, then just say yes. In fact, the biggest little hut on a tree was the U.S. Embassy. Just like, oh, okay, I'll use that next time.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So let's get into, since you're such an academic, your academia, and academia was so important to you. Let's kind of talk about how did you get to public health? Is that something that you knew you wanted to do, or how did you get here?
So I went to an all-girls school in Ethiopia called Nazareth School, which I love. I love very much. And they prepared me very well academically and also as a strong woman. And I remember when I was in fourth grade, I picked up a book from the library, and it was a red book. Queen, I really remember it was a red book, and it had a white writing, and it says health. That's all it says, health. I took the book home and I read it cover to cover, and I said, Mom, that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a health professional. And I stuck with that. And so I studied biology undergrad because I really want to have like a basic understanding of how our bodies work at the cellular level, and then studied public health in grad school, and maternal and child health. So when I went to grad school, I wanted to do international health, and the advisor told me the concentration that did a lot of international work was maternal and child health. So I studied that, and then I graduated in 1983. And I do not know how old you are, but in 1983, that was the peak of HIV/AIDS epidemic.
Yes, I was really young. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
In the 80s. It was bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
AIDS. Yeah. So I graduated from grad school in 85, graduated from undergrad 83. But I finished grad school in December 84, but the graduation was in 85. And the first job
I got dying that time. They were really dying. People were dying.
Yes,
I mean,
they were
losing
dying.
people in enormous numbers.
My goodness.
Yeah, it was so scary.
It was so scary, especially San Francisco and New York City. I mean, those are the two cities that are just, and so I got a job. The first job that I got was as a HIV counselor. And that was when the ELISA test came out, the first test for HIV. And it was very, very difficult. And a lot of the counselors that were with me were gay men, and they lost their partners due to HIV. And it's not necessarily that they died because of HIV directly, but indirectly, because
complications
it was not only the complications, but it was a death sentence to have be diagnosed with HIV. And instead of just going through excruciating process of death, they actually, many of them committed suicide. So suicide was very, very high in those days with those that were diagnosed with HIV. So it's a very, very difficult period of time, and taboo to talk about that. Even, the musicians, many of the musicians, when they died, it's like, oh, they died of cancer or something undiagnosed, but we know what it is. So, but it was a long time. It took a long time for people to be really truthful about HIV/AIDS. So, interestingly, Queen, to this day, I do HIV/AIDS prevention and sexual health education, yes, in Baltimore, and I'm grateful to Baltimore City Health Department. I have a grant with them. The money comes from CDC, and hopefully it will continue to come from CDC. Yes, I know, right?
That's federal money. That's federal
money. Yeah,
Trumpy don't play with federal. Trumpy don't like federal.
Yeah.
Yes, all of the programs are at a problem. Trumpy and Muskie ain't playing. Those they are pulling the dollars. But I hope, because I remember that the HIV crisis. I mean, if you had it, you were dying, because we really didn't have. It was a bloodborne disease that we've never seen before. They had really no template to deal with it. They were secluding people and trying to stay away and just allowing them to die. give them drugs to die. And so
Yeah.
it was a hard time. I was really young, but I remember
Horrible.
that. And it was
Horrible.
horrible in the US at that
Not only
time.
the
Yes.
pain, the isolation that you talked about, and the
The
stigma. The
isolation
one
was
who
horrible.
touched the fork or the plate that you ate
Yeah.
because they're just
People
so
didn't want
afraid.
you in their houses, using, it because people
Yeah.
just didn't know. We
No.
never saw anything like that before. And
Yeah.
now
Yes.
people are living with HIV, which is a blessing. People
Like
are
normal
living
life. Yes.
normal lives. I
Yeah.
mean, so that tells you how you can get past things. So we have to kind of have
Yeah.
grace for people when they're going through
Not
something.
completely past, so we continue to raise awareness that HIV/AIDS is still here, and it's
It's
not
still here.
curable. I mean, you manage it, but there's no cure yet.
Yep.
So we have a PrEP, which is a medicine that you take every day to reduce your
Mhm.
chances, like 99% effective in reducing HIV infection through
Yep.
daily medicine or injectables 2 or 3 times a year. So we're promoting that as part of overall healthy sexuality. So,
Yep.
good, healthy relationships, healthy sexuality, that includes, condom and PrEP. And so a lot of people do not know what PrEP is, do not know that it's available. Also PEP, which is something you can take within 72 hours of having unprotected sex, whether it's because of rape or because you just happen to be with someone that
Caught
you
up.
didn't expect to be sleeping with, and
Yep.
and you don't know the status of that someone. So there's PEP that's available. So part of what we're doing is doing community education around healthy relationship, but also healthy sexuality that includes condom and PrEP and PEP information dissemination. So we have lots of what we call ambassadors to promote sexual health in diverse communities. So our community includes partners representing returning citizens, harm reduction,
Yep.
barbers and beauticians, as you know, MTAS, right? Barbers
Yes.
and beauticians, and youth development programs, and churches. There's so many of us that are partnering. We welcome more people to partner with us if you're in the
Yeah.
sexual health promotion business. Yeah.
Well, sexual health is important. There's no grown-ups that's not having some sort of sex, some sort. And
Mhm.
so we have to be transparent about being safe and the safety and being healthy while being sexual. And so
Yeah.
I applaud you for that, because this is sometimes the conversation that people are uncomfortable about. And it's a conversation that we must have. And younger now, these young people, they're exposed to technology and they can see things that I never could see. That I almost had to wait to college to see. And
Yeah.
they have smartphones at 7 and 8 years old. So
Yeah.
these are conversations that we have to have early, that we
Yeah.
have to make them something that we're not uncomfortable with. Because I remember my mother and my parents, they didn't have parents, so they didn't have the conversation. They call it the birds and the bees. I didn't get
Yes.
the birds. You know what
I
I mean?
didn't.
I didn't get the birds and the bees.
Yeah.
I just didn't get it. And so thank God that that I was a pretty responsible young lady. But it happens, and now we have to talk about the birds and the bees early.
Yes. Yes.
That's just
Yes.
the
It's
truth.
really amazing. You see the contrast in culture, in our culture, when you have people coming from like what you consider to be similar culture. So
Mhm.
when Europeans or people that I know from Germany come and visit, and I remember with my boys, and something comes out on TV and like covering their eyes if it's like a kind of sexual scene, but they can watch any violence, and it's like, and they're like, what? I mean, that's different. You let them, you cover their eyes for sexual part, but then not for violence.
You watch them
It's
get
like
shot.
we think
Yeah.
we've normalized the conversation with our children around sex. It's the violence that
Mhm.
we do not tolerate. Uh, and so it's like, wow,
It's the difference of cultures. Wow. Yeah.
it's a different perspective. But with my parents, I didn't even have the conversation about the birds and the bees.
You didn't have the birds and bees neither.
No. It's
No
a
birds.
topic you don't even discuss. They made me feel like if I looked at the man, I would get pregnant. It's
Oh,
like that's
my
how I
mom
was
said, if
intimidated.
you if you drink after a boy, you're gonna be pregnant. What my grandmother told me. They wanted to scare us, and but look now that you can't scare these kids because they have the information, they have the tool, and so we have to make it a comfortable space because they have all the tools.
Yes, yes. But the tools are not, the tools at times are so erroneous. They give the wrong information. So that's
Right.
why we're in the business of really carefully sifting through what exists to determine what's correct information or incorrect information. So that's part of the guidance that we actually give to young people. And there are many resources where young people can dial to just get any kind of questions related to sexual health answered by health professionals, because we have to give the correct information. But we still are struggling with,
Yeah.
we're in denial as parents about our children's sexual behaviors. And so, part of our challenge, honestly, is how to get messages around sexual health to young people. And I'm talking, when I say young people, I'm not talking just children. I'm talking about middle school and high school students. There's denial that my kids are not sexually active. I used to take my children since they were 9 years old to my sexual health conferences. Yeah, I don't think it was going to make them sexual. I felt like it's going to make them more sexually responsible when they get to that point. And
The information.
yes,
Yes.
information
Yes.
is knowledge. Information is not, guide to actually being sexually active.
Yeah, it's power.
Most of my
Information is
parents are
power.
proud that their daughter is doing sexual.
Yes, yes. And I think that's one of the things of a parent. You don't want to think of your child having any sexual behaviors, but they're humans and they get the feeling. And your little boy trust, and the little girls, they got the feeling. I remember we was young, they used to call it humping. We're doing something. Now they're not even humping. They're having
Yeah.
sex, baby.
Yes.
The world has changed. And if we don't have these conversations with our children, they can get viral infections like these viruses that are out here, from AIDS to hepatitis. I mean, we don't even talk about hepatitis anymore. We don't even talk about syphilis. You can't get rid of those. Yeah, you can't get rid of herpes. These are things that are sexually transmitted. And so this is something that we have to have these conversations with young people, because they live in a time when nothing is hidden from them. Nothing.
Yes. Nothing else. And we would really love to have parents as our youth ambassadors too. We really would love to launch an initiative targeting parents that feel so comfortable talking to their children about sexual health that they could be models for other parents, because the denial is very strong. And I can tell you, when we have, we used to have our conference as HIV Youth Summit, and we changed it over time. It's to say youth leadership and healthy relationship. And just because, in a way, to get through that barrier that parents have, like, oh no, a youth HIV summit, I don't want my child to go to that. But so if it's a youth leadership, and then you couch it on the
trickle.
Information about sexual health, and it's something that the young people really want to have with their parents, but the parents feel uncomfortable, or the parents think also, no, my child doesn't want to talk to me about sexual health. But in reality, they do want to talk to their parents, and do want to get that guidance from our parents. So we want to encourage parents to have conversation. If you're watching TV and you see a relationship issue or sexual health, use that as an opportunity for conversation. And then so that way you can get to know where your child is in terms of thinking, and then you build on that. So don't shy away from these very important questions. That's how we get, we address, high level of teen pregnancy, high level of STI. There are 20 million STI cases per year. 10 million, or 50%, is with young people ages of 15 to 20, 23, 24. Yeah. So imagine just that age group is 10 million per year. So there's something that we are not doing. We have to reach them through schools. Schools do not want to touch this, even though they're mandated to do that. but they're afraid of their parents. Everybody's afraid. Everybody's like, it's a natural thing.
It's a natural thing, but we live in a fear-based
uncomfortable.
society, Rebecca. We live in a fear-based society, and we also live around the principles of what we are Christian nation. And
Yes.
sometimes that traditional Christianity keeps us away from talking about the things that we don't really want to talk, that we need to talk about, but we don't really want to. Because I think with my mom, even me being grown now, she's like, "I'll be respectful." I'm like, "Mom." Listen, I'm talking about something right with, she's still very traditional, and I think the tradition sometimes keeps us and fear keeps us away from the real conversations, and we have to provide a safe space for our children because once they're sick, you don't want to deal with that. So I'm telling you, deal with the pre, because you don't want to deal with the post.
Good point. We need to emphasize that. And you brought the Christianity piece, but throughout the Bible, there are so many lessons about relationship and sexual.
And they having sex.
So many.
What do you think they do in the Bible?
Really,
they having sex.
Yes, they have the sense. Just break it down. It's so important. God gave us the joy of sex. God made sex enjoyable. If he did not, we would not have arousal, right? We would not have ejaculation. We would not have orgasm.
Amen to you, Rebecca. Thank you, God. We need that.
Yes, thank you, God. And he gave us all that. And it's really up to the pastor. So we have a training, we've been doing training for our faith leaders on the guidebook to promoting sexual health in Black churches. And some churches are receptive, some churches are completely resistant. But what we're asking churches is just listen, go through this guidebook, go through our training, and you take on what feels comfortable to you. It's not anything that we prescribe. It's up to the leadership of the church to determine at what point do they start this conversation and from where. But it's really important because young people are seeking it from churches and churches are not delivering. And kids are saying churches are no longer relevant.
They don't go to church.
Do you know how many churches close per year? 7,000 churches close per year in the United States. Imagine.
And it's going to be next year. It's going to be 10,000. Let me tell you something. Until the churches understand that to keep a church vital, you have to have young people. Listen, the vitality of the church needs youth because it has to continue to grow. And you have to have conversations that are particularly that stimulates and triggers their involvement. If they're going to come through the doors, church is voluntary. It's a place that you come voluntary, and you're not going to come if you're not comfortable. And so these churches got to wake up. I mean, because this is what people are coming voluntary. Let's have these conversations with the actual elders or the older folks, but our children need to hear about their bodies. They do.
Exactly. They do. Jesus made it so clear. He did not come to this world to preach to the righteous people. He came to preach to those people that are challenged, that are suffering, that are doubtful. So the churches are so focused on those that are on the right path. That's all they want to focus on. But these are the ones that Jesus told us we need to focus on. Okay. And we should not shy away. What did Jesus do? Jesus was the best storyteller. I wish I could teach all the time health education and parable the way it is. And I'm reading the Bible, like, what did Jesus mean by this? And I have to go and search interpretation and stuff like that. But it is Jesus's way of challenging us to think through these stories and do interpretation and personalize what he's telling us and to guide us in our decision making. That is the challenge that I would love parents to take. I would love our faith leaders to take, whether they're imam or whether it's a bishop or whether it's a rabbi. But it's all up to us to take on the information from the Bible, from the Quran, and from the Torah, and educate our population, because we are losing our population. And the moral instruction that comes from having faith and having religion, and also the ability to withstand the challenges, a nation that of non-believers would fall with the minor challenges that they're faced with. So nurturing the entire population is very, very important work for all faith leaders.
Yes, I mean, very important. And I love that you're talking about this because, Ethiopia is the first Bible. And the Christianity, and when we're talking about Christianity, in Ethiopia, Ethiopia was never colonized. So this is a place, yes. So Ethiopia has done things in Africa that not many people can say. And so for you to talk about Jesus and Christianity in this way, you were exposed to not even Western Christianity, another form of Christianity. You understand what I'm saying? And so we really have to look at religion in a way that's freeing us from like the traps of the world. And one of the traps is not dealing with being saved during sex. It's a trap because you will be sick.
Yes.
Think something can happen to you. You can actually give it to your child. I mean, this is something that's serious. And until we really kind of connect those dots, we're going to continue having these issues.
Yes, and we're going to continue to have the disconnect and the churches closing, and then soon have no churches. And it's not a matter of being conservative, because I was talking to a colleague, and within a month to 2 month period, there were 4 Ethiopian Orthodox churches that started in Prince George's County area, in Montgomery County. So, and it's, we're Orthodox, so it's strict. So it's not a matter of strictness. It's a matter of teaching and being relevant and connecting. So, so it is. So priests and bishops, they shouldn't think that if I present a strict information, it's going to really drive people away. No, it's quite the reverse. That
I think they think they're encouraging sex.
That kind of guidance. Yeah, they want the whole range of guidance.
They want it. Exactly.
They want it. They seek it. And young people tell me they seek it and they don't get it. And they said, if I come pregnant to a church, I would be, chastised. But if I have abortion, I would be welcome, because they do not know I have abortion, but it's like, because they don't get to know me. So can we
that's so sad.
Know our congregation, and can we truly go back to Jesus' way of service, of everybody, and getting all the flocks together. Yes.
Yeah, Jesus went around the least of us. He moved around the least of us. So we have to move that way too. Everything must be a service, and religion has become this it's the place to be, but they're not serving anyone. So we have to serve everyone, and not just the people who come every week. The people who's out in the corner. I told my mom, I'm like, y'all pass all of these young people and go to church.
Yes.
Stop on the corner and talk to them. You pass 1 million young people to go to church. What you doing?
Yes.
Talk to young people. So I always say that, like, the church is outside. They're on the corner. Stop.
Yeah. You go to churches and all you see are older folks, and it's like, where are the young couples? Where are the teenagers? They're not there. It's a dying.
Church is dying in America. Trust me. It is unfortunately is a dying movement, and technology is taking it to a new space, because everybody will be like, okay, I'll just get on Zoom. And
I question about leadership, because when you think about leadership is defined as having a vision and ability to drive a group of people together. So where is the leadership in churches on a national level when we in terms of being bothered by 7,000 churches closing every year, churches sitting empty, churches being converted? A colleague of mine texted me and said a picture of where he was. Guess where I am? I'm at a brewery, and I look at it. It's like,
oh, it's a church. I know, I've been there.
And it's a church in Baltimore that's converted into a brewery.
Jesus,
you know how many of these things are happening?
It's a brewery. They're brew beer. They got Jesus on the. They got Jesus on the ceiling.
Oh my gosh, I would not be able to drink. And that I feel like,
and it's very it's a huge place. It used to be a big, beautiful church, but
Yeah.
right in the where the pulpit is the big brewers where they
Yes.
brew the liquor. I said, wow, that's
Yeah.
that's the world we live in.
That's
But
the
it's the
world. That's
truth.
really the world we live in. So I really do a call out for faith leaders. Please do come and let's partner on
Yeah,
how we can really bring messages of relevance for young people into their church. And also, when I work around cancer prevention, so that's the work that I do at Hopkins, and which I love. But the C word, that cancer is like the C word. People do not want to talk about that, and we've done research studies on lack of cancer communication in the African American community, because there's
yeah,
the fear, like it's a death sentence when you have cancer, and they don't want to talk about it, or they don't want to be screened because of that fatalistic attitude. Well,
yeah.
if I
I'm gonna
get it,
die
then
anyway. I hear them say, I'm gonna
yeah,
die anyway.
you're
Yeah,
gonna die
yeah,
anyway. It's what I got it from God. That's like, no, but the Bible says, what faith with no work is dead. Okay, so no, the expectation is that you have faith and you also do the work to reduce
yeah,
your risk for cancer or anything else, and
yep,
then you have healthier prospects. So
yep.
the religion in the area of prevention of diseases and syndromes and all that kind of stuff, including cancer, is really, really important, not only in the prevention side, also in the intervention side. So when we look at, work, I have going to research that those that are going through chemo and have a connection to cared family members and connection, spiritual connection to
Mhm.
God, they're they're better able to handle their chemo journey, and they're better preparing themselves for what's to come, and even the healing process, because your immune system goes up when you have that the prayers and the religious connection. So it
Mhm.
is put, I'm not talking only about putting the responsibility on the faith leaders, but the responsibility of those of us that are in healthcare to really support the patients in their journey in terms of treatment, to embrace and support their the spiritual practices. And that's why we have like chapels in church and
In
hospitals and
hospitals,
chaplains. Yeah,
it's
so
very
important.
it's so important. When you're sick, you need multi-level movement. And first, I always say healing starts in the mind. That's the first place that it starts in. Even when you have
Yeah.
any anomaly, it starts in how your mindset matters. And then you
Yes.
need the outside interventions. You need support. You need a diet that's sensical. You got to watch sugar and things that move, that bring you into a very
That's the work.
inflammatory state.
Yes.
So you got to watch your diet, and then your mind. You have to be stressed. Let things go and
Yes.
focus,
Yes.
and get closer to your spiritual place. It doesn't have to be Christianity. Your spiritual place, your
Spiritual
connection.
connection. Yes.
Living in disease starts when you're diseased, and
Yes.
and your behavior. We gotta look at all of that. And so
Yes.
when you
Yes.
say like the hospital has a chapel, it does. But
Yeah.
if your mind ain't right, then you
Yeah.
sitting there for a moment. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So we gotta get up. We gotta start dealing with all of that, because
All of that.
all of it. Health means so many things, and it's more than just, oh, I'm going to church and we're gonna pray it away. No, 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 no. You're
Yeah.
not gonna pray it
It's the
away.
work. Yeah. The work. The
You got to put the work.
whole
Exactly.
work. As to faith,
All the work
as the work. Otherwise, it's dead. And that's
is
our, collective responsibility. And absolutely, that is true. And we owe it to our colleagues too. So it's not just
true.
yourself. It's like you owe that responsibility to your network to share information, knowledge,
Yes.
or to say, let's go to church, let's pray, let's do something spiritual, let's go to for meditation. Right now, people are just so troubled for many reasons. Okay, since COVID, it's been one thing after another, and now another.
We have
not to be
chaos.
political.
It's chaos.
And,
Absolute
so
chaos. Yeah.
what do we have? We have to really have faith that we can overcome situations, and
Yes.
then make a plan, okay, of if this door closes, a window
Another
will
open.
open, and we just like, yeah, we'll have to plan for that. Okay, so we
Yes.
have
Yeah.
to work on our spiritual wellness to
Mm.
let us, to give us the power to overcome
Yep.
the challenges that we're facing every single day, and
Every.
bring on the spiritual black folks hymns, and just the beautiful blessed assurance, let's sing it, all the
Look at you.
assurance, the prayer, and the yeah, just we
I
need to get
love that.
yeah.
I just love that because spirituality is important and not everyone expresses it the same way. So we have to, we're in Ramadan
Yes,
now. We're in
yes,
the Lent season now.
yes,
I think Lent, this was Ash Wednesday. So we see
yeah,
spirituality being performed.
yes,
But more than anything, it has to be something that is a part of us in some way because
yes,
it's our moral compass. It's a
yes,
compass and we
yes,
need it, and it helps us in so many ways, especially when you have a challenge, because the first
yes,
thing when you have a challenge, you're like, God, please, you want to go to
yes,
God, but you got to go
yes,
to God when it's good, baby.
yes,
We got to go. It's got to be a daily relationship, and
yes,
so that's
yes,
all I'm saying. We ain't preaching in here, but you got to
yes.
have a
And parents need to
daily.
give that exposure to their children. So
Yeah.
imagine, I mean, parents, please, whatever you do, build
Yes.
opportunities for spirituality with your children. And we're not talking, like Queen and I said, we're not talking about just religion, but the
We
importance
talk
of
about spirituality, connection.
spirituality. Yeah. And my son was like saying, said to me the other day, is like, I feel sorry for people that do not have faith, do not
Mm,
have religious attachment, because I can't imagine how they must be feeling, with all that's going on in life. Who are they going to rely on? You can rely on to your parents to some extent, but you also see the parents suffering. You need to really
definitely.
think about a higher being that can
Yes.
give you some sort of comfort and connection,
It's
and
a grounding.
see the power. Yeah, the grounding is so important.
It
Yes.
grounds you. And we live in, listen, guys, we live in a very, right now, chaos is everywhere. And politics and policy shapes who we are. And we
Yeah.
see that, people are losing jobs, people are losing their spaces that they've been in for years. We got some things going on political around us, and it's
Yes.
made this environment very, very chaotic. We
Yeah.
have to ground spiritually. And I'm
Yes.
not saying join a church. I'm saying get you a connection with a higher being.
Yes.
Mindsets matter. It will definitely, when things happen, you'll be able to look at it and keep going 10 toes down and move forward. It's
Yeah.
very hard right now. We live in a lot of chaos, and we need some grounding. And I just implore everyone, find a
Yes.
way to cleave onto your spirituality. It
Yes.
will give you ground. It will ground you. It will.
Yes. Yes.
It
And
will.
and I would say, faith leaders take advantage of this. To what extent are you positioning yourself to be the
Absolutely.
gatherers of people of flock? Just
That part.
gather them, and set this as an example about the importance of spirituality and religion.
Yeah.
Where are these strong religious leaders that I'm not seeing, I'm not hearing, and we need
I think
to.
they're muted in a lot of ways. They're getting money from the government too. So that's the thing about America. It puts everyone into the money system. And so they're getting money and they have tax incentives
Yes.
as faith-based organizations, and the system
Yeah.
comes into play. And so the
Yeah.
faith leaders are hushed. They need
Yeah.
that cash, baby. Let's be clear. So
Yeah.
we see our faith leaders, they're not standing up for us because this is something that you might have to do yourself. And what I'm saying is find a spiritual place, ground yourself, clear your mind, eat well, treat your temple well, and find a good environment to set your butt in. Be around people who are positive because the world is different. It's where it is, because we're
Yeah.
looking for someone to come on and give us. These guys are handicapped because
Yeah.
they need that cash. Let's be
Yeah.
clear. America has a system. And we don't see any faith-based leaders saying anything but boycott for a minute, or they're not really leading us. So the goal is, what are you doing for yourself? And I think
Yeah.
that or doing a group of your own people, find a
Mhm.
way to cleave onto something that's going to make you positive. That's the only
Yes.
way.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree. And do not be. It's hard. It's easy to be pessimistic about life,
It is
about your
very
situation,
easy.
especially if you're
Yep.
the ones that have been kicked out or experiencing that. But when you're in that state of being pessimistic, you do not see anything above it. So that's the
Yeah.
danger that lies. You cannot be creative in terms of thinking, okay, what's next for me? So I really
Yes.
urge you, that's where the spirituality also comes in, so that you can
Yeah.
see the possibilities beyond the limitations that you have right in front of you. So think
Yeah.
about the glass being half full rather than half empty or almost drained and completely empty. And then connect. There are so many podcasts and so many events that are going on to uplift
Yep.
people. And in fact, we're organizing a Women's Health Expo this Sunday at Loyola, completely free for 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. We're going to have fun. We're going to be dancing. We're going to be, have snacks. We're going to do various entertainment. We're going to have screening for HIV, STI, and all kinds of screening. We're going to have amazing vendors. So go to
Mhm.
places like that where you
Yes.
connect to opportunities to empower yourself and to support
Yep.
your health and well-being. Do not sit
Yep.
at home doing nothing.
We need to build community. Listen, community is something that makes us all go forward. And so long we live in a country that says you can do it yourself, and self, and I. But really, the real growth is when you unite with others, like people in your community, and then you find places to serve, and you won't worry so much about, because I promise you, what's going on with you is someone else suffering more.
Yes.
I promise you.
Yeah.
We we have to build community. We have to
Yeah.
find a way to have authentic relationships with other people
Yes.
that is going to build us as people. Because when you look at yourself and you lost your job, you see somebody who hasn't worked for a year, who's on the streets. There's
Yes.
always something worse than your situation. And I'm not saying to negate what you're going through. I'm
Yes.
saying that you can find places, soft places to land, and then
Yes.
get into your creative space. When you
Yes.
find a soft place to land and you're able to think positively, you will see how amazing you can create a space for yourself
Mm-hmm.
and your
Mm-hmm.
community.
Yes.
That's build community.
That's absolutely true. And be one with nature, because as you
Yeah.
experience
Yes.
nature, you see the goodness of spirituality, God all around you. One of the best things, my son came and spent 3 days, New Year's time, with me from New York City. And I started watching what he was doing, and I started doing stuff with him. So he would get up in the morning and walk facing the sun very quietly and just observe nature all around him. And I
Mm.
started doing that. And I'm like, whoa, I do not know we had a woodpecker around here. Oh, I sense four different kinds of birds. And it's like the things that I never experienced all around me. And then I
That's
felt the sun. And as I enter my house and turn around to say goodbye to like the nature, I felt the sun on me. And I tell you, this spiritual, I just felt God's presence. And I was like, I raised
Ooh,
my hands. I said, thank you, dear Lord, for everything you've provided for me. I do not take any day for granted. It just made me appreciate nature so much. And I'm like, I told my son, thank you so much. You implanted a seed in my mind in terms of how I should open my day every day to be facing the sun and to be walking quietly and observing nature, the sound, and also looking at nature. And
wow.
scientists, researchers say that how important that appreciating nature is. But it also is a way that God is connecting with us. All this beautiful
Listen,
world that He's created for us.
God gave us all of that. I'm down south, but I live in Baltimore. Baltimore is a city, and
Yes.
it's not where I live. I
Baltimore is
live
the
down
south. Yeah, Baltimore is the south.
south. But yeah, but Baltimore is the south, but it's a city. It's a city. People don't know it.
Yeah.
It's still the south. But where I live on Pratt Street, there's no trees, I mean, barely trees, something they planted later, no old trees. And
Yeah.
and then my backyard is concrete. So, I mean, this is real inner city living. And
Yeah.
so I come here to my mom, and what I do is I take my socks off and put my feet in the grass, and I ground,
I love that too.
open up
Yes.
and let my feet touch the earth. It
Yes.
is the most, and I hug a tree.
Amazing.
I
Yes.
just go and hug a tree. Trees
Yes.
have communication. They communicate. They're
Yeah.
amazing. We
Yeah.
have to find small ways of what God has given us. We're
Mm.
so metro, and we got all of these things we manifest in materialism, but the simplest things matter. I was outside washing the car, and the leaves, the different colors, and the pine needles, and the moss. Those are things that God has put out here. We're just walking past it like it doesn't matter. But it's
Yeah.
the things that makes us better. And we got to
Yes.
look at simple. Simple matters.
Yes.
Be simple.
Small
Be
things
simple.
matter. Some of the
Mm-hmm.
best things are the smallest things, you know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
we tend to think about the big things. No, I love small things. Small things have like huge impact in my life. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So how do people tap into your work? What can I put in the chat? Because we've been here an hour and 10. I mean, we having this sister circle. It's an hour and 10 minutes. I was like, oh my goodness. It doesn't even feel like it. It's like talking
It
to a
doesn't
big
feel like I can talk to you forever, Queen.
forever.
So this is
And we got an audience.
yes,
Hi,
yes,
Black
yes.
Boxes. So how can people tap in? How can they email you and tap into your work, and spiritual leaders or people who want to tap into what you do in public health?
Yeah, I welcome anybody and everybody that would like to partner with us. Well, I think you have my email address, and also I can provide my phone number. I don't know if you want me to.
Let me put your emails. So
Okay. Yeah.
RND, say
Yeah.
it. So
Rebkha, REBKHA at RND dot
okay.
associates. There's no .com, there's no .org. So it's Rebkha, as my name is spelled right there, Rebkha at
RABKHA.
R for Rebecca, N for Nancy, D for David. David is my hubby. RND.associates. So that's the way to reach me. And yeah, if you're into sexual health promotion, or if you're a parent, if you're a faith leader that want to be involved in this work and partner with us, that would be great. Yeah, not www. Delete that www.
It's email. Oh,
Email.
okay, okay.
Email is
Yeah, email. Yeah, let me
rnd.associates.
get that right.
And then
Okay.
we have LinkedIn page, R&D Associates LinkedIn page also. You can check on us for that. Yeah, so if you're into women's health promotion, if you're into cancer prevention right now at Hopkins, I manage a study on identifying the colorectal cancer screening behaviors for African and Caribbean immigrants. So if you're African, a Caribbean immigrant over the age of 45 and under 75 and live in Baltimore City and state and county and Prince George's County, please, please, please reach out to me. We would love to find out from you about your experiences. Yeah, if you're into capacity building training, we offer evaluation for youth and after school programs. We do evaluation of Baltimore Rites of Passage initiatives. So there are so many ways that we would love to get the support of you, whether you're just an educator, a researcher, or a funder. Contact us. We have lots of brilliant ideas that we would like to put forward. Yes. Thank you
Well,
so
listen,
much for having me and give me the opportunity to share that.
Listen, let me say something to you. I'm so impressed with your story. I'm inspired I mean, coming here at 15 and what you've been able to manifest in your own life is such a testament to who you are. And you're still trying to help others. I mean, health wise. So I am so inspired by you. I appreciate you. Keep doing the good work. If I can do anything to assist you in this work, please call out, let me help, let me assist. Whatever Black Box Radio can do for you guys, we're there. I just really am so impressed with you, and also having this international link you have. So
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing. It
Yeah.
really is a beautiful thing. So keep doing the good work. Keep
Thank you.
doing.
I appreciate that so much. And I welcome anybody that wants to mentor our mentees. Yeah, so there's so much. Please just contact me. If you have any ideas about anything, just contact me. Thank you.
Because I'm
Queen, I
telling you,
appreciate you. The moment I met you, I'm like, oh, the energy,
yeah.
the positive energy that I felt from you, that
I
connection.
met you, me. I said, "Oh, I need to know this lady." You were teaching the barbers. I said, "I got to know her. She's special." I mean, you have a light, and so that's a beautiful thing. That when you come in a room, I felt you, and
Yes.
so I
Thank
had
you.
to come and talk to you. And today, you're sitting across from me. We created this beautiful sister circle, and we have folks in the who are watching and leaving comments in the chat. I just really appreciate it. This Dr. Jonathan says Rebkha is a perfect example of a strong Black woman. She's a wonderful leader, mentor, mother. As part of Zenny's gift, I can say she's a phenomenal mentor. Wish her more blessings. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. That's so nice. And Sierra said, "Wow, what an incredible journey." So your story is it definitely resonates. It definitely resonates. And listen, guys, this is the Black Women History Month series 2025. We got 10 Black women, baby. This is our third. This has been our third iteration. It is just a beautiful thing to put to see the blessings of Black women who sometimes don't get their flowers. And I'm here to give all the flowers out. You know, I'm a little biased because I am a Black woman, but I know we are the standard. I know we do amazing things. I know we birth civilization. I know we are the largest educated dynamic in this country. It's a beautiful thing. And so I say that with a lot of pride, but I also say that I have grace for Black women because our path isn't easy neither. With all of that we do, there's a lot of not appreciation for what we're doing. And so this is a series that we have annually. This is the first time I did 10 women. There's so many great Black women. I had to do 10. I usually do 6. Rebkha, y'all got me 10. So we're 10 this year. So this month, March, every week we got Black women. 3 the first week, 3 the next week, 2, and then 2. So this is the last of this week. We had this beautiful lady here. Listen, guys, like, share, subscribe. I need you to like, share, subscribe this and get this out so we can get some people to continue this message on sexual health, on our sexuality, our spirituality. All these things that we talked about tonight has to be addressed all the time by every institution, from the hospital to the church to the damn funeral home. Everybody need to be talking about this. So I just really appreciate everyone in the chat coming through. This Dr. Priyanka, I got your name now. I like to say it. Thank you so much, Rebkha, for sharing your experiences, and thank you, Queen, for organizing this amazing podcast. Thank you, Dr. Priyanka. I need you to subscribe to the YouTube, baby, so you can come on back. But listen, the Black Women History series is closing for this week. We'll be on next week, next Monday. Come through and see some, because we got some Black women for you. So we're going to get out of here tonight, guys. Everyone, listen, have a beautiful, beautiful week and come to see us next week. Let's say deuces. We out of here. Good night. Don't go nowhere. Stay right there, Rebkha. Good night, guys. Take care.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for coming through. We appreciate you. That's it.